Good afternoon, 3D printers. I'm going to make a video on a design you can practice with before we meet on Wednesday. So I'm on my home page. I'm assuming that you all know how to get there. So I'm going to come over here to the Create button, and I'm going to click on Create, 3D Design, and your screen should show your build plate. So first thing we're going to do, we're going to give it a name, and I'm going to name it Video 1. You should name it something with your name attached to it, so I know whose it is when I decide to print it, or if I decide not to print it. Down here in settings, you should be on inches. Just double check. So you're going to come down here to where it says setting. Click on settings. Make sure your unit says inches. Okay, if it does, you're in good shape. If it doesn't, go ahead and fix that. So I'm going to pull out a square cube. I shouldn't call it a square, it is a cube. I'm also going to make the color lighter because it helps me when I can see all the edges. I'm going to click on it, and I see all my handles. I got my X handles right here, my Y handles right here, and my Z handle right there. So I'm going to click on this corner one, and I'm going to change it to 2 inches. And enter. I'm going to click here and change that to 2 inches. And I'm going to go to my Z, click on that, and make that 2 inches. Whoops, it didn't change. Now remember, if you ever make a mistake, you can always come right up here to the undo button. Now we have a cube, a 2-inch cube. I'm going to double check everything. So it's 2-inch cube. Now I am going to click on it again. I'm going to come up here to copy, and I'm going to paste it 3 times. 1, 2, 3. I'm going to move them out of position. I'm going to work on one at a time. So I'm going to move it so I can work on just one. And I like to work on the left-hand side of the work plane. Whatever your preference, I just need them out of the way. So I have my 1 cube. That's going to be the size of our box. So I can push that back. I'm going to pull another one back down, put it over here, and I'm going to change the dimensions just a little bit, because we're going to make this an extrusion inside of that. We're going to make a box. So I'm going to click on the corner handle, and I'm going to make it 1.75, 1 3/4 inches. Change both of them, 1.75, and enter. Now we're not going to change this one up here. We're going to leave it at 2 inches, and I'm going to explain why. Right up here, you see this little cone. That is how we're going to raise this off the plate, off the build plate. So I'm going to pull that up, and you're going to see a number up here over here, and it should be 0.125, which is 1/8 of an inch. 1/8 of an inch. If you need to pause the video to do that, pause the video, go back and do your adjustment, make your dimensions. Now once we have that raised off the plate and 1.75, we're going to change it to a hole. See, we come up here and we can click on this, make it a hole. Some of you are still not understanding the difference between a hole and the solid. If I can click back and forth, it goes to solid, but I want it to be a hole. Then, with my keys on the keyboard, another thing you guys are doing, you're using your mouse to move your shapes around, and you're changing the dimensions. So I like to click on it, highlight it, and then I'm going to move it with my arrows on my keyboard. So that way I am not changing any of the dimensions. I got it pretty much centered, but I want to make it perfect, so I'm going to click and drag over both those shapes, come up here to the Align tool right here. Click on that, and I'm going to click on the X and the Y, and you'll see how they both turn gray. That means it's centered exactly inside of that. And I'm moving it down, highlight it again, click and drag over both shapes, and now I group it. And now I have my box. Now, in order to make a lid, we have two more shapes over here. So the one part, we are going to leave it at the same size. We're going to leave it 2 by 2 by 2, 2 by 2, and then we're going to bring it down. I'm going to go to the Z-axis, and we're going to make it 0.125. And again, my mouse is not working. 0.125. Okay, that is going to be our top. Now we have to make a little insert so that it can fit in there snugly. I was having some difficulty getting the exact size, so I did some experimenting. So we are going to change, we're going to change it to 1.74. Just a little bit smaller than the whole size. 1.74. And then we're going to make that 0.25, a quarter of an inch. If you start remembering some of these, it's going to help you with your math when you start doing decimals and fractions. And now we have that, and now we just got to put them together. So I'm going to click on one of them. It doesn't really matter which one. And I'm going to move it over with my arrows on my keyboard. Okay. And then I'm going to highlight both pieces, go back up to my Align tool. I'm going to click on the center on the X, center on the Y, group them together, and there we go. We have our box with our lid. I'm going to put it in about in the center of the work plane. For print purposes, when I download it, and remember, you can roll in it with your mouse just to see if you get a glimpse about where you're at. And that would be your box. Now, there's different things we can do. We could try to put a little knob on top. There's some problems that come with that because then we'd have to print some supports around the base. We can get to that later. That'll be a more advanced thing that we can do. But that's it. See if you get it done. Let me know if you get it finished. Give me a message in Class Dojo. That's where I'm going to post this. And I will see everyone, or most of you guys, tomorrow on Monday. Thanks.